It's March 30th, 2025, and this is Pyratt. Elon Musk has led Doge to reduce the federal government's civilian workforce by at most 3 to 4% as of today. We know that if you eliminated the entire civilian workforce of the federal government, that you're only going to get $600 billion in savings. And $600 billion is the most aggressive estimate if you put in salary, benefits, the cost of workplaces, office leases, utilities, etc. It's probably closer to 300 to 400 billion. With a federal deficit of trillions, it's not enough. The big picture is that Milton Friedman was right. Inflation is a monetary phenomenon. And if we agree that it's a monetary phenomenon, and if we agree that there is absolutely no way that the federal government can repay all of the debt that it's issued, that means that inflation has nowhere to go but up. And so the question for you listeners is, do you truly believe in your hearts that inflation is running at 2.8 to 4% a year? Do you truly believe that? And if you do, I have an ice lake in Florida to sell to you. So let's look to gold. What is gold? Gold is the free market's vote on the true rate of inflation. And with gold jumping by double digits in the past 60 days, and the free market is voting that inflation is far, far higher than the 3 to 4% that the government likes to pretend. As we know, inflation has two components, the velocity of money and the quantity of money. The velocity of money is influenced by economic activity. The quantity of money, as we know, is the government printing press. So even if we have a reduction in economic activity, which everything else being equal would reduce inflation, when the government continually is printing money and issuing debt, increasing the money supply, gold is a quantity of money measure totally independent of the velocity of money. And when that quantity of money measure is increasing at double digits continually, gold is going to skyrocket higher. I want to repeat that again. Gold is going to skyrocket higher. What's the simplest thing to do? Go long the GLD ETF. If you prefer going long a physical gold ETF, you know that Sprott has a great alternative to GLD. In addition, owning gold bars, forget the crazy coin or numismatic value, own gold bars. So gold bars, the GLD ETF, and Sprott physical gold ETF. Geopolitically, we need to examine what's happening. Most people falsely believe that an increase in inflation actually hurts savers, and that the very wealthy are hurt by inflation much more than the poor because their savings are disproportionately affected. If you have 10 million in the bank and there's 10% inflation, it's literally 10% less valuable in real terms than it was the year before if you're just putting it in the bank. However, we all know that's not really how life works. If you're really poor or you're middle class, you have a family, you have expenses, and you have money coming in and money going out. A lot of my married friends tell me that they really feel like a traffic cop. As money goes in and out very, very fast, they try to grab a few dollar bills as it's whizzing by. So the answer is, if you have an increase in your income and an increase in your expenses, and we all know it's very hard to negotiate increases in income as fast as your expenses are increasing due to inflation, you're really in a tough pickle. However, if you have $10 million in the bank, you can keep $500,000 in liquidity on standby, and you can put $9.5 million in gold. So if you're wealthy and intelligent, inflation can actually inure to your benefit because you can have excess capital and wealth, which can be placed in something like gold. Whereas if you're poor or middle class, where your expenses and your income are really roughly matched or even moving against you, you're just killed by inflation. So the real answer is that you have discretionary wealth, and you have enough discretionary wealth where you can keep a good amount for liquidity and still have a huge proportion in something like gold. You're very much protected from inflation. Remember, listeners, if you don't want your income based upon trading time for money, money won is always infinitely more valuable than money earned.